Hi everybody, Tammy here. Welcome to my channel, and this is another tutorial for you to learn how to crochet for your dolls. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a stitch called double crochet, and this doll is wearing a cute and very simple to make doll scarf. Let me take it off of her. Excuse me, Malibu, put you over here. And this is basically one stitch, one row of double crochet, and then I just added some fringe on here to make this really simple little scarf. So double crochet is a stitch that I honestly don't use a ton when it comes to crocheting with dolls, but it is one of my favorite crochet stitches because it works up quite quickly. You can see how large this is compared to other crochet stitches. So for things like if you want to make a blanket, which you can make a doll blanket with this too, that would be another thing, or like a little shawl. But there are things you can still do with double crochet and doll crocheting. It's just I tend to use single crochet quite a bit. So anyway, that said, I'm going to show you how to do this super easy and fun stitch. Now I already have some videos in my Crocheting for Dolls playlist that show how to do the basics, such as attaching your yarn to your hook, and how to do some other stitches. So I recommend, if this is the first time you've seen this, you might want to go check that out over there. I just have some scrap yarn here. This is actually some baby alpaca, so you can see it's a little bit fuzzy, it's super soft. And I'm going to use kind of a larger crochet hook than I would normally use to crochet with dolls, and that is a size H 5mm. All right. So just like anything else, when you're crocheting, first you have to attach the yarn to your hook with a slip knot here. And I always leave a little bit of a tail, 6 to 8 inches of tail that will be woven in later. And again, just like anything else in crochet, first you have to do a chain stitch. And again, I have a video that shows you how to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and make some chain stitches. You can watch me make these chain stitches, or you can fast forward to the actual stitch if you want to. But anything that to do with crochet always starts with the chain stitch. So if you have not learned the chain stitch yet, you need to do that before you move on to double crochet, single crochet, triple crochet, any other stitches, because I don't know of any projects I've ever done that don't start with chain stitches first. Oops, there we go. All right, so I just have a random number of chain stitches here. This is just a sample. Well, maybe I'll make it a little bit longer. Maybe we'll actually make a little scarf. All right. All right. Now I tend to be a loose crocheter, so you can actually see my stitches there. And it's better to be a little bit on the loose side than the tight side, because you always are going to have to put your hook back through your stitches. So if your chains or any other stitches are too tight and you can't get your hook through, you're in a pickle. Okay, so I have a various number of chains here. Doesn't matter how many you have, really. And this is, like I said, this is just kind of a sample piece. Maybe it's going to be long enough for a scarf or something, but I'll probably do a separate video on that and give you exact numbers and things. So anyway, with the double crochet, there's a couple of different ways to get started with it. Typically, what you're going to do is you're going to skip the first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to go into the 4th stitch. You're going to yarn over, bring your hook through your chain, yarn over again, pull through, and you'll have 3 loops on your hook. Then you yarn over and pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2, and you have made actually 2 double crochets. This first one counts. These 3 here count as your first, and then you have a double crochet right here. So this is only in the first row. After we get our first row done, you don't have to do this thingy. I'll show you a little tricky trick of mine. And then you just keep going. Again, yarn over, go into your chain, yarn over, pull through 2, or both pull through. You got 3 chains or 3 loops there, if I can talk. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And I'll just do a few and not talk here a little bit. Yarn over, go into your chain, yarn over and pull it through your chain. You'll have 3. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through 2 more loops. Right, and I'm going to pull that up and we're going to look to see. There we have each one of these bar looking things. That's a double crochet. Double crochet, double crochet, double crochet. If you look at it on the top, you'll see the V's. That's a stitch, that's a stitch, this is a stitch where my loop's at. So here's a stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And like I said, the first one counts as a stitch, so we have 8 so far. So it's really important when you're learning how to crochet to also learn how to, what they say, I've heard it called read your stitches. You want to be able to go back and identify that that's a stitch. You want to be able to visually see that that is a stitch and that is a stitch. The reason why that's really important is because as you make items, you'll be told in a pattern, you know, do X number of, you know, do 10 single crochets in the next double crochet, you know, something like that. Well, if you cannot identify one stitch from another, that is like, you know, it makes no sense to you, right? You will not be able to understand the pattern. And while you don't have to really read patterns to make a lot of stuff, that's one of the cool things about crochet. It's very organic. Once you know some stitches, you really can just take off and make all kinds of things like blankets and scarves, you know, runners, placemats, you know, anything that's kind of like rectangular, you can pretty much whip those out, or square. Anything in the round, I think you do have to kind of be able to follow a pattern pretty much. But any sort of basic things like a square or a rectangle, which you can make all kinds of little things with, or like a blanket, you can make a whole blanket. I've made blankets before with no pattern. I've done complete blankets using double crochet. So there's still a lot you can do, but once you are able to read patterns, it really empowers you. You can make so many more items. You can, especially if you like dolls and toy looking type items like little stuffed toys, or, you know, called amigurumi often, those type of things, or like hats, little doll hats. It is so nice to be able to read a pattern and make a hat for your doll, or make a cute little stuffed bear or something like that. It just opens up the world to you, because for many, many years, I did not read patterns and I just crocheted all kinds of stuff. I made all kinds of things without patterns. But once I learned how to read a pattern, it was, you know, just, like I said, opened up a world of crochet that was closed to me because I couldn't read the patterns. And crochet patterns, I guess I'll do a video at some point where I'll talk about them. But I mean, they can be a little tricky to learn because they're not standardized really. But once you know the basics, you can usually figure it out. And thanks to YouTube, there's all kinds of great people on YouTube that show you how to make stuff too. So, all right, here we go. Check it out. I've got a whole row here of double crochet. All right, so if we want to do another row of double crochet, like anything else, so I finished my last stitch. Like anything else, 99% of the time in crochet, you're going, at the end of a row, you're going to chain one and then flip it around, and we're going to work back in the other direction, okay, the opposite direction we just came from. Now, textbook wise, if you look in a book, they usually tell you to do 3 chains, not just one. Okay, I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to do it. And to skip this first stitch right here, and that this will count as your double crochet. I don't really like that. I'll show you why. Like, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to skip that. This is how you're technically supposed to do it, where you make 3 chains, skip the first stitch, and those 3 chains are going to count as a double crochet. All right. And you can do that if you want to do it textbook case wise. That's okay to do that. I personally don't like it because it looks different, and you get this, I always get a big gap here, and I don't really like that. And that, I actually did find this in a book. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was something like Crochet Q&A or something like that. And they actually confirmed something I've been doing because I didn't like this. All right, so I'm back over here at the end of the row. Instead of doing the 3 chain stitches, skipping a stitch and going in the next one, I do 1 chain stitch, but I make it a little bit on the big side. Okay, then I flip it around, and I do go into that very first stitch right here, and I make my next double crochet. Yarn over, go through it, yarn over, pull out, yarn over, 2 loops. My yarn is splitting here a little bit. Yarn over, or not, pull through, yarn over, go through your next stitch, yarn over, pull through. Again, I have 3 loops. I yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 more loops, just like we did in the first row. So let's take a look and see the difference now. Now I don't have that gaposis, there's little fuzzies. This is natural fiber, so this is the real deal. I don't have that little gaposis. I still need to do the what do you call it? The chain here, and like I said, I usually make it a little on the big side because what you're doing is you're moving up. If you see how large this chain or this stitch is, you know, let's see if I can find a ruler here. All right, I found a ruler, and you can see how wide this is. This is over 1/2 inch, or if I was going to do metric, there you go. So this is pretty large. You need to, what they say, step up a little bit, and so that's why you're doing that chain, and that's why I make that first chain kind of on the big side. And then you just keep doing it. You can see how I'm actually creating something kind of substantial now. Yarn over, go through your next stitch, yarn over, pull through that stitch, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. I'll do some more and just not talk. All right, see, this is getting pretty big. So definitely I recommend, if you have learned the basics, you already know chain stitch and you've got that under control, you've played around with single crochet, and honestly, sometimes I've actually taught people, I've taught them chain stitch, and then I've gone directly to double crochet, depending on what they want to make. If they want to make, if they're like, wow, I really want to make myself a scarf, or I want to make a blanket, I just say, okay, learn that chain stitch and go right to double crochet. You don't have to learn single crochet first. Really, there's no reason to learn the stitches single, double, triple in a certain order. They each have their own purpose. The single crochet, like I said, for toys is really important to learn because most of the crochet toys that you're going to make are going to be using single crochet. It's called amigurumi is the technique, and so single crochet is used a lot in amigurumi. It's also used a lot when it comes to things like doll hats, but you could actually do double crochet and make a hat. You can double crochet in the round as well. So learn all the stitches. The more you learn, the more you can make. And just keep practicing, get your tension like you want it to be. But projects like making yourself a scarf or a little doll blanket, that's what I could do that with this. That would be very easy to do, is make a little doll blanket. Let me get to the end of the row and we can see how big this is compared to the doll. Like I said, I just randomly picked a number of chains to start out with. But if you are intent on, making something specific like a doll blanket, you could do your chains, make your chains and then sort of measure them up against your doll. Now here I am on that first row, and this is those 3 single crochet, those 3 chain stitches I made. So I'm just going to go in the last chain and count that as a stitch. All right, let's bring her over here. Yeah, it's really not long enough, but it's wide enough, so I could keep making this keep moving down, 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 and make a little doll blanket for her really easily using this double crochet stitch. That would not be difficult at all to do. And see how fast that worked up? That's why I like this stitch so much. It's really, really fast to do. For me, I think it's actually easier sometimes than the single crochet, because single crochet, when you first start doing it, it'll sometimes twist up on you, and you notice this did not do any twisting on me at all. So yeah, that is how you make the double crochet stitch. Check out my doll crochet playlist, like I said, and I have other stitches on there, starting with chain stitch. I also talk about the supplies you need. So if you're new, definitely check out that playlist. But otherwise, let me know what you think of double crochet in the comments down below. Are you learning to crochet for your dolls, or even not for your dolls? You're just learning to crochet because you want to. Have a wonderful Dolly Day. Thanks for watching. Please give this a thumbs up and be a subscriber if you aren't already. Bye-bye.